In today's video, I'm going to be sharing the top 5 reasons that Amazon KDP books get rejected and how to fix them. Now, for those of you who are newer to Amazon KDP, the way that this works is essentially we upload our book to Amazon and they have 3 days to review what we've uploaded. They are looking for errors, they're looking for mistakes that we overlooked, or anything that doesn't follow their guidelines that they want changed before that book gets published on their marketplace. Now, what I'm going to share with you in this video are the most common mistakes or reasons that books get rejected, and then how to fix those so you can resubmit that book and get it published on Amazon. As always, guys, I will make this video as helpful as possible by explaining things here on camera, but also switching you over to my own computer and showing you real examples of these on screen recording. Now, the last thing to say quickly before we get into this video is that 4 out of 5 of these are just simple but common mistakes that have very easy fixes, but once you're aware of them, you won't make those mistakes yourself. However, one of these is a really important thing that you need to know for KDP, and if you make this mistake, it can lead to your entire account being shut down. So if you are a KDP seller, please watch this video through just one time. Hopefully it protects your entire account and saves you a lot of frustration from having to correct these mistakes. All right, guys, so getting straight into this video, the first one is a very common mistake with a super simple fix. You just have to know what you were looking for. And what this is if your book gets rejected and you get an email saying that there's an issue with your cover's margins, there's a very simple fix. So switching over to the computer here, I can show you a real example of this. So this is one of my covers here. As you know, this is the front cover on the right side, the back cover on the left side. In Amazon KDP, this is how they format your covers. It's all in one. And these green dotted lines right here are the margins. So the most common reason that I've seen for books getting rejected for margin issues has to do with the background color or image if you're using an image. So let me click on my background color here. And as you can see, my shape goes well past the edges of this book. What I see a lot of people do is they try to line it up right to the edge and everything looks like it's covered in a background color. But if you actually zoom in here, a lot of these times you have not gone all the way to the edge. So you're leaving this tiny little margin right here that's left over of white. And once that hits Amazon KDP's printers, it would leave you with a printing error. So zooming back out here, the way to fix that is just to take your background color or your image and make sure that it overlaps well past the edges of your book. Now guys, quickly before we move on from this one, I do want to show you one other example. So as I was talking about before, you can have this for images as well. So if you are someone who has a front and a back cover image, again, make sure that it's just like this, where it is clearly overlapping past the edges. And then when it comes to the spine of the book down the middle, that is the section between the 2 inner dotted lines. So if you have this same setup, that is that section right down the middle. On my books that have images, I like to put a solid line down the middle of the spine. It just gives it a really clean look when it's printed. All right, so just like that, let's go ahead and move on to the second one. This is going to be the really important one that I was talking about, where you have to be paying attention to this one to make sure that you don't get your account shut down. So what this one is in regards to copyrights and trademarks. And I'll switch you over to the computer and I will show you real examples of this so you know specific things to look out for. Okay, so here's a perfect example and I will talk through all of this with you so it all makes sense. So as you can see on this book right here, it has the Coca-Cola logo. That is something that if you don't have explicit permission from Coca-Cola, you cannot use on your book's cover. Now, I don't personally know the creators of this book, so I don't know if they have permission to be using this or if it just hasn't been found yet on Amazon and had this listing taken down. But this is a perfect example to show that recognizable brands or companies, even sports teams, you can't use their logo on your book cover without permission. The same goes for the title, the description. You don't want to be using it anywhere unless you have permission to use it. Now, here's another example showing us the same logo that is on the cover. We can't use that, but this one also shows a product. So this is a Coca-Cola product, recognizable, especially if it were in that red can. You can't be using that on your cover because not only does the company own the usage rights to their logo, but also their brand name and their products. So we can't be using any of their reputation on our covers, our title, our description, any of that. Now, in addition to companies and brands, there's also athletes and celebrities. We have to be careful of this as well. So showing you another example here, this is a very recognizable athlete on the cover of this book. I don't know if this book has not been taken down yet, but it is walking a very fine line here on Amazon. Personally, I would not want this on my account because this does put your entire account at risk if you get in trouble for copyright or trademark infringement. And showing you one more example here, here's another recognizable athlete. And even if this was made with artificial intelligence to make your own photo of the athlete, it's just walking such an unclear line when it comes to who actually has the usage rights here. So I don't recommend creating photos or using photos of anyone that you recognize, whether that's an athlete or a celebrity or someone famous from a movie, TV show, or anything like that. So we've got companies and brands, we've got athletes and celebrities, a couple other things to look out for. Here's another good example. This is a car coloring book, but this is a very recognizable recognizable model of a vehicle, and it even has the front emblem on it, so you can tell what brand that is from. Again, this specific artwork could have been created by hand or created with artificial intelligence, but still, I think that's walking way too fine of a line here, and I wouldn't personally want to be doing it. This is a slightly different example in the same context. These are three very clear car brands. They've taken the logos off of them, so it technically doesn't have the logos, but you can tell from the design of those cars what brands they are. Again, personally, I wouldn't want to be doing this. It's just too risky when it comes to copyright and trademark, in my opinion. Now, a couple more examples here. This is from a movie, so this is still the Cars theme, but this is clearly owned by Disney and Pixar, so we can't be using any of their branding or reputation, anything from a movie, anything from a TV show on our covers. To give you one more example, this is the brand of Hot Wheels. We cannot be using their branding on our cover. This is obviously by the creators of Hot Wheels, so they're allowed to use it, but we can't just be using that reputation to sell our own books. Now, as you guys know in my videos, I don't just show you the problem and not show you how to fix it. So the solution to this is to create something like this. This is a great book right here. It's a monster truck themed coloring book. This was obviously created either by hand or with artificial intelligence, but it has no branding. You can't clearly tell what type of truck this is. It's just a mixed body style. So I don't see any issues with copyrights or trademarks here. There is a ton more that I could talk about this one, but I want to keep this video moving forward. The key takeaway is just to make sure that you're not using anyone else's reputation or something that is recognizably someone else's. All right, so getting right into the next one here. Again, this is another quick fix here, but a common mistake. If you get a rejection email saying that there was an issue with your author name or your contributor name, even if you have not put in a contributor, this is how to fix it. So to show you a real example of this, the author name is right here, first name and last name. And what I recommend for a lot of you guys to do, if you don't already have a good pen name picked out, is to use your initials. Something like GG would be mine, and then puzzle books or word search books or whatever type of book you are creating. If you use something like this and Amazon rejects it, it is most likely because it is already in use. So no matter what your author name is, if you just came up with it yourself, it's either being used by someone else already, so they want you to change it to something else. It's either too similar to someone else's, so they want you to change it to make sure that there's no confusion of people thinking that you are the same as another seller, or what we had just talked about before, that name is owned by someone else. So it's the name of a brand, it's the name of a company, something like that. Now, what's interesting about this is that Amazon will send out rejection emails saying there's an issue with your contributor name. Right underneath our author name is our contributor name, and I don't ever put any contributors here. Most people don't put contributors here, but Amazon still sends that email. What Amazon is doing is they are batching the author and the contributor together. I wish they would change this and they would specify it as the author name, but if you are getting an email saying there's an issue with your contributor name, just know that they are actually referring to your author name. So guys, the quick fix here is just to come in here, change your author name and resubmit it. You can change it by modifying this to add your middle initial in here. You can change it to something entirely different. And if you have resubmitted it and it still gets kicked back again, I would try changing it to something radically different, or in worst case scenario, and I've seen this work before, if they keep rejecting it for some reason and you keep changing the name, is just to kind of ditch that listing and resubmit it as a brand new listing with that different author name. Don't ask me why, but just from experience, sometimes that is the solution that works to get that book published. All right, so getting straight into the fourth mistake here, this is another common one with a rather easy fix. And what this one is if you get an email from Amazon saying that there is a potentially disappointing customer experience from your book, and that's why they won't accept it. So in most cases, this is going to be in regards to your book's cover. So let me show you an example here. So this is a book that I actually found published on the Amazon Marketplace, and no offense to the creator here, I'm just using this as an example, but I'm kind of surprised that this one didn't get the disappointing customer experience rejection, because as you can see on this cover, it looks like it was just kind of slapped together here. It's not even aligned to the center, and there really is a lot of room to improve this cover. Now, I'll show you one other example here as well. This is another book cover here that has a lot of room for improvement. It's got the word search puzzle on the background here, but it just has an image slapped on top of it. There is a lot of room for improvement in this title as well. So if you are getting that disappointing customer experience, in most cases, it's going to be from your cover design. Now, for this to really make sense, I just want to visually show you this. So between those two covers that we just looked at, compare that to something like this. This is a camping word search template. This is one of my own here. And as you can see, this just looks so much more professional. So Amazon loves this quality of cover, especially compared to what we've just looked at. So if you're getting that rejection from them, try to make your covers look something like this. Now, quickly, for those of you who don't know how to make good covers for your KDP books, I made a video last week that goes through my full cover creation process. It goes through step by step, and I literally create a cover with you. So if you need help in that department, that video will be linked down below. Again, it's totally free here on YouTube. Now, getting right back into this, if you did receive that disappointing customer experience rejection, and you've looked at your cover and your cover looks awesome, then it could be coming from somewhere else in your book. So the other place it could be coming from is your title and subtitle. So in this book specifically, they only have a title here. They didn't even fill out a subtitle after this. So there is a lot of room for improvement here as well. And Amazon might not have wanted yours on their marketplace because it just doesn't look professional. Now, if your cover and your title both check out, just first make sure that there's nothing wrong with your description on your listing, but then it has to be coming from the inside of your book. So when it comes to the inside of your book, make sure that there's no formatting issues, things aren't aligned or cut off in your book. Make sure that there is enough value in your book so the pages are not just bland. If they are, try to add in some graphics, try to add in some quotes, add in some more value into the inside of your book. Or if you are creating puzzle books, something like a word search or a crossword book, make sure that you don't have a lot of repeating words throughout your book or words that are not relevant to the theme that that book is about. If you do, just improve your words list, resubmit your book back to KDP, and hopefully through all of those fixes, your book now gets accepted. And just like that, guys, we are on the fifth and final mistake here. And what this one is in regards to your title and subtitle. Now, switching over to the computer here to show you a real example of this, the most common reason that a title would be rejected is if it does not match what is on the book's cover. So for instance, this book title here says Camping Word Search Puzzle Book. If this were for this specific book right here, this says Camping Word Search. It doesn't say puzzle book on here technically, but that is a pretty good match. It depends on who specifically is reviewing your book when you submit it to KDP, but technically your book's title is supposed to say exactly what is on your book cover. So if you look at your title and it is just too far off of what your actual cover says, then that would be the first thing that I would try to match up here. Now, the second reason that you can have an issue with your title or subtitle is if you are putting too many keywords in your title or your subtitle. This is what Amazon calls keyword stuffing. And essentially the happy medium that I found is to put in 3 keywords right here. So this book is a camping word search book. In my subtitle, I say that it is about camping, hiking, and outdoors. Those are the 3 keywords that I am trying to target. If you start filling this with 5, 6, 7, 8 keywords throughout just your subtitle, Amazon may kick that back and say that they want it to look more professional. Now, the last mistake that you might have in your title or subtitle that is causing for it to get rejected is if you have something like this. So I try to put this in as many listings as I can. They don't always reject it, but it is really good for conversions. However, Amazon sometimes doesn't want specific words in your title or your subtitle. These are words like gift, they are words like bestseller. And again, this is going to depend on who your specific reviewer is when you submit your book. Now, again, the quick fix on this one is that if it is getting rejected, just try switching out gift to great or perfect. So it reads perfect for vacations or great for vacations. There are tons of other words that you can use here. As a reminder, guys, I will put the link to the book cover tutorial down in the description below, but I'm also going to put the link to a full KDP tutorial. It is a course level video here on YouTube, totally for free, walking through my entire process from just an idea of starting KDP, what kind of books to create, how to create them, how to publish them. Everything is included in that video. Again, totally here free on the channel. Guys, I hope this video and the other videos that you watch are extremely helpful. And as always, if you have any questions, just let me know down in the comments. I would be happy to help you. And if you enjoyed this video, all I ask is that you give it a thumbs up. Guys, that is it for this one, but I'll plan to see you all in the next video.